Brest Paris is revered as the oldest bike event in the world. Every 4 years, thousands of participants from across the globe attempt to complete the 1200k course within the 90-hour time limit. But how did this quirky cultural phenomenon, supported by the people of Brittany, evolve into the PBP that we know today? The modern PBP is defined by the following: a ride, not a race, staged every 4 years, broad participation, qualification is required, multiple starting waves, minimum rider support, and rural roads. But this was not always the case. Let's look at 5 key dates from its 24 stagings that make PBP what it is today. 1891, key date number 1. The late 19th century saw the invention of the safety bicycle, and with it an unprecedented boom in all things bike-related. Across Europe and the US, crowds flooded to their local velodrome to see these technological marvels in action. This fascination was not lost on Pierre Griffard, the editor of Paris's La Petite Journal, who saw this phenomenon as a way to sell more newspapers. He floated the idea of a road race that would take riders all the way from Paris to Brest and back. Nothing so audacious had ever been attempted before, and no one was even sure if the bicycles of that era could withstand 1200k of mostly unpaved roads. The idea immediately caught the public's attention, and so on September 6, 1891, 206 riders departed from the La Petite offices in Paris. Thousands of Parisians were there to see them off. Incredibly, just 72 hours later, the first winner of PBP, Charles Turan, returned. Overnight, he became a national hero, celebrated for his tenacity and for showing the world what the bicycle was capable of. Reviewing the characteristics of that first PBP, we can see how different it was from today's version. A race every 10 years, French males only, no qualification, just one starting wave, significant rider support, and a direct route to Brest. 1901, the second staging, was the next key date in PBP's evolution. It was won by the famous professional bike racer Maurice Garin, who had already won Paris-Roubaix twice and would go on to win the inaugural Tour de France in 1903. By far the most significant change was that PBP was now opened up to foreigners. This gave us the American Charlie Miller, who finished 5th in a time of 56 hours and 40 minutes, despite a litany of mishaps and a lack of rider support. His perseverance was recognized by the French public, and today his finishing time is known as a Charlie Miller. 1931, the third key date in PBP's evolution, came with its 5th staging. A full 40 years after 7 females were turned away from the start of the first PBP, females were officially allowed to participate for the first time. A total of 6 females departed, 4 on mixed tandems and 2 as singles. Paulette Vassard, a 35-year-old Parisian, became the first woman in history to complete PBP within the time limit. 1951, key date number 4, and the 7th staging, so the last time PBP would be held as a professional race. PBP's grueling format, the annual Tour de France, and the prize money of criteriums held in August meant that the event's appeal to professionals was waning. This last professional PBP was won by Maurice Diot, who completed the course in a record 39 hours, despite famously stopping for his breakaway companion and rival Edward Muller to change his wheel. This act of sportsmanship was a fitting end to the professional racing era of Brest Paris. 1979 was the 5th and final key date for PBP's evolution. The 13th staging saw many changes, some of them radical. 1979 really represents when PBP was dragged into the modern era, away from its exclusive professional racing roots. Many of the changes were motivated by the need to accommodate the sheer numbers of riders that were now signing up for the event, which was now being held every 4 years. These changes included a qualification requirement of 200, 300, 400 and 600k brevets, multiple starting waves, a new route that avoided highways and brought PBP to the rural villages that it is now known for, and a new, more suburban starting location that avoided the congestion of Paris. Fast forward to today, looking at some of the stats for the most recent 24th staging of PBP, it's clear how far the event has evolved over its more than 130-year history. 2023 saw over 6,000 riders with an average age of 51 participate. Of those, only 21% were French, with the rest coming from over 70 different countries. Other areas, however, like the only 7% female participation rate, will likely continue to evolve in the coming years.